What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to the Research Institution. Appreciate y'all for coming by. Like this video if you will, subscribe to the page, and swat that bell so you're notified next time I post a video. And blessings to my patrons. Links in the description below. May you have many wives, those who support the research. So, some big conglomerate from Big Red Dragon Country has purchased Grinding Gear Games, GGG. That's right, the folks who make and work on Path of Exile and Path of Exile 2. Now, this is kind of old news. In fact, it's several years old. But I think it's relevant to bring up to the discussion here. Because I know that there's been a lot of guys, including myself, who've really been kissing the ass of this company, right? Like every video. Path of Exile 2, greatest game ever. And like, we haven't even played it yet. Well, I haven't played it. I know a lot of these guys have played it. And to its credit, I'm thinking it definitely could be in that category. Potentially one of the greatest games ever. Especially if you take the spiritual journey that I've been encouraging you guys to take. With me. No guides. Just go into this shit blind. That's how you're supposed to play it. A spiritual journey. It's about the ascending. Alright? It's not about the ascended. When you're ascended, you're dead. You're not looking to ascend. This goes on forever. You're not looking to be ascended. No. You're looking to be ascending. So, don't fucking look at those guides. I mean, you're just cutting to the chase where there's nothing at the end of it, man. The top of this ladder is burning. I've been there. Trust me, bro. So basically, it's in the now, it's in the moment, it's in the current chase, the current iteration of things. It's in that moment when you create your character, preferably an attractive one. Or if you're the kind of guy who likes to play a tough-ass looking dude, then that's fine too. Or even an ugly-ass motherfucker. They probably have that as well. But, I mean, I'm thinking that they have a variety in this, right? Personally, I'm going to play as the witch. Mostly because she's a summoner. And I want to have minions and shit. And in addition to that, she looks hot, I think. I don't know, I haven't really looked too close at her, but I do prefer looking at characters on screen that I find visually appealing, as strange as that might sound. Now, I know that doesn't sound strange to you guys. It just sounds strange to those big fuckers who are sold out. Like Blizzard, for example. Who the hell wants to play as a lunch lady druid? I've been sick of tater tots for a long fucking time. I don't need that purple-armed... I don't mean to be... I'm not trying to be mean here. All right. I mean, like I said in previous videos, it's good to have Lunch Lady Druid as a selection, but why not also have the athletic, nimble, and quick Druid? You know, why can't we have both? Like, why the fuck do we have to just have this one option? It's bullshit, especially when it's the one option that, like, only 0.0001% of the player base would actually prefer over the other fucking option that doesn't exist. But that's not what this video is about. What's this video about again? Oh, yeah. Grinding Gear Games. And how they've been purchased by this parent company or some shit. Based in Big Red Dragon Country. Now you're like, well, Iceman, why does that matter? Iceman, who cares? I mean, everything comes from Big Red Dragon Country, right? Yeah, and that's the fucking problem. No, I got ahead of myself. Hold on. You guys ever heard of the book, The Art of War? You ever read it? I haven't. I haven't read it, but I have it. And I've heard summaries on it. So basically how it works is, and it's from Big Red Dragon Country, you know, these folks are good at calculation. They're good with numbers, and I don't think they just want to enslave their people forever. Now, where are you going with this, Iceman? Hold on, I thought we were talking about PoE 2. What the hell are you talking about all this bullshit? Well, because it's relevant. And because I think we should be cautious. We shouldn't just kiss the ass just because there's a big, nice ass in front of us. Bitch might turn around and should be ugly as fuck. That's kind of my concern here. So, basically, the reason that's a problem is you're buying up all the shit, right? A lot of the media, a lot of the entertainment, it's all owned by Big Red Dragon Country. Even the fucking property here is owned by it, in the United States, for example. And there's been an imbalance in terms of the value of the US dollar and how it's the world reserve currency, and how for a long time that has been the case, and how the Federal Reserve was established in 1913, I think. And the dollar was taken off the gold standard in 1971, I think. So in which case the dollar lost its intrinsic value, and this shit has been inflated into oblivion. And there's all these other countries of the world who want to get out of it. You know, they're working on their BRICS currency. Look that shit up. Brazil, Russia, India, China. BRICS. The S is the other ones. What's the S again? South Africa. Yeah. And a bunch of other fucking countries. Because they're losing trust in the US dollar. And this stuff has all been by design. You know, this wasn't a fucking accident. You know, it's not an accident that all of our shit's made overseas, you know, and it's not an accident that everything's getting more and more expensive. They say, oh, Iceman, well, the businesses, they just got more greedy all of a sudden. That's why they're getting more expensive. It's like they just kind of realized it. They're like, oh, look, I could just keep pricing things up. And it just keeps coming up now. And they didn't really realize that, like in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. They just, all of a sudden, they just were like, oh, wow, look, we can just price shit at whatever we want. And it just keeps going up. Now, I know this isn't the entirety of that, but it is conveying a central point to what's happening here. You know, the surface level assumption here is that they were just getting greedy. Like, oh, yeah, let's just keep pricing things higher. Yeah, let's just do it. Wow, we can do it. Wow. When the fucking truth is, if there's more entities in the competition, it drives prices down. You know, like right now, you can't buy raw milk for less than $18 a fucking gallon. I live in Michigan, and shit's pretty cheap here. You know, so we're talking about a gallon of milk that's $18 fucking dollars. Why is that? Well, it's because it's raw ass milk, and there's all these loopholes these fuckers have to go through to make it. So you have a lot less of them doing it, so they can keep the prices up. And there's still the demand for it because some say that shit's healthy. I don't know, and I've bought it for some time, but. Point being, if they were to deregulate that shit and just say, okay, anybody can make it and consumers can just kind of use their own discretion and discernment when they buy shit, then a hell of a lot more people are going to get into the market of making it, of producing it, and it's going to drive the prices down. We've seen this with the Mary Jane shit. I even had a buddy who's growing that shit with the Medicard, and when it was about to become legalized, he was making bank, right? Up until that point. He was making a ton of money. He had like this big ass shed that he had, or it was like a pole barn. This whole production that he had next to his house. He said, oh yeah, I don't want it in my house because it's going to like intrigue criminals and shit. So I'm going to build this thing outside of my house. Like that's how lucrative his business was. He was just making bank. Then I tell him, like, hey, you know, they're going to legalize this shit. That's on the ballot and everybody's going to vote for it. Are you concerned that that's going to cause more competition in your market and drive down the prices to your own destruction? I didn't say that part, but that's what I was thinking. And I just asked him if he was concerned. He's like, oh, no, Iceman, why would I be concerned? I was like, no. More people are just going to buy it, you know, what's his reasoning. And I knew he was going to be fucked. I mean, I didn't know he was going to be fucked to the degree that he was, but I knew it was going to cause a massive decay on his business. And of course, as soon as that shit got legalized, the market started being saturated with it. All these motherfuckers growing it in their backyards and their homes and their apartments and everywhere, and they're selling the shit, and it just became a race to the bottom of the price. So the guy, I called him up about a year later after it was legalized, and I said, hey man, you got any of that CBD I could buy from you? I was just kind of wanting to catch up with him. I could have bought that shit anywhere. He was like, oh, no, I've been out of that for a while now. I was like, oh. He's like, oh, yeah, yeah. It became, the prices dropped just so dramatically that it wasn't sustainable anymore. And of course, I invested a lot in the business. It took a massive toll on my electric bill and everything else. So now I'm a pig farmer. I was like, hey, fucking kidding me? This guy's like slaughtering pigs now. I mean, that's some real fucking work right there, you know? That's some real work. And he didn't even like to kill shit. I remember he had ducks and he didn't want to kill the damn ducks. He had his buddy do it, but now he's a fucking pig farmer. And he was making a ton of money selling the Mary Jane. So, I mean, I don't mean to talk shit about it. I'm just trying to make a point. You know, I was making observations there and I knew that was going to happen. Is when they deregulate that shit, that's going to happen. It's going to cause a lot more competition in the market and race to the bottom price. But we've seen all this wonky shit go on for decades, and we've seen Big Red Dragon Country join the World Trade Organization, and they lobbied for shit. As far as I know, they lobbied for politicians on both sides of the aisle to pass this shit through, and then, of course, no one's done anything about it. Well, until recently. We might be seeing something happen in this coming year. But it's an uphill battle, that's for sure, to fight that bullshit. And that maybe that's part of what this video is about. You know, there are rumors of non-woke gaming companies being established. You guys heard about that? Didn't Elon Musk, didn't he consider like making a publishing company or something, or backing U.S. gaming companies that are like non-woke or some shit? I don't know. But point being, when Big Red Dragon Country joined that, they have different rules. You know, like they were part of the whole forced labor thing for a while. So it's kind of integrated in their culture where they can do that. So what happens when you're trying to compete with somebody who has no fucking rules? You know, like it's like playing football. It's like in the United States, it's like, okay, yeah, you guys can play football against Big Red Dragon Country, but the only difference is all your arms are going to be tied behind your backs, and the Big Red Dragon Country's team, they're not going to have their arms tied behind their backs. They're going to be able to use their arms. So you're like, I wonder who's going to win. You're like, oh, I don't know. It's free trade, so we're just going to see what happens. You know, well, it's not really free because you guys have these rules and that you guys have to abide by, and the other team doesn't. But you guys see where I'm going with this? Let me know in the comments below. So nonetheless, when that shit happened, of course, they started making all the shit. And you just couldn't compete anymore. And it begs the question, what really is in it for them? You know, are they just wanting to make cheap shit for everybody for like the rest of the time or something? You know, is that really what any nation would do? I mean, all nations have taken part in this, right? Conquest, conquering, imperialism, all that bullshit. It's just in our nature, man. I mean, that's how it's been since the beginning of time. So it's nothing personal against them. They have quite a nice blueprint on how to do it in the art of war, but that's just how things work. You know, that's how our nature works. You know, we're selfish, we break through, we conquer, we consume, and we crush the enemy, basically. So it might be a bit foolish to think that all this bullshit is entirely about, oh yeah, like over there in Big Red Dragon Country, they're like, oh yeah, we just want to keep enslaving our people and have them make cheap shit for everybody else in the world so they can just have a good time with their little iPhones and shit. You know, do you think that's the end game here? Huh. I'm not so sure. I wonder if maybe a more accurate hypothesis of what the end game is here is what's been observed through history since the beginning of fucking time. You know, something to do with maybe gaining the edge on the entire world. And when you pull the manufacturing away from a country or nation, and you start taking control of their media, their entertainment, you make all the shit woke, you tell all the kids to cut off their dicks and everything else, what sort of a nation is that going to drive? You know? Like, if you fill their minds with all this shit, and you take away the purchasing power of their currency, by currency manipulation and these crony trade deals and everything else, and you take part in, you know, lower labor laws and things like that, in some cases slavery, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? You know, that's how you get the enemy. You get them from within. You take their media, you take their entertainment, you control the media, you control the narratives and shit, you take away all their manufacturing, all their purchasing power, all the power to their currency. And I think that's what we're seeing going on here. So it just makes me a little concerned when this company is purchased by an entity that's established there. You know, I mean, this place is starting to own the entire fucking world. And what's the mainstream shit? You know, well, the mainstream shit is you're going to play as this fat-ass lunch lady druid and you're going to like it. You know, the mainstream shit is, well, in the video game world, everybody's going to get a damn star. And then we're going to take away competition because competition is bad. Because that's what we got in Diablo 4. There's just no competition there. Because everybody gets the fucking star when they get the ancestral gear. It comes with a fucking greater asterisk now. It's just fucking crazy. So the chase is the same from from a couple hours into gameplay to 10,000 plus. And the only difference is the numbers are just a little higher over your characters' heads, just slightly bigger numbers. So it takes away the competition aspect. You know, they're pulling all this shit away, just like how the manufacturing was pulled away. The purchasing power of the dollar has been pulled away through the printing of it. And all this shit is done with these entities through the federal. These are all private banks, man. This is fucked up. You know, that's why I bought gold and silver. I mean, this is just a big private bank scheme, and that Big Red Dragon country, it seems, is a bastion of power to fuel this pulling away the fabric of functioning civilizations around it, you know? So what happens when a game like Path of Exile 2 is purchased by this? I mean, we'll say, well, 86% of the shares are held by that entity, and the original devs still have, 15% or whatever. I mean, maybe this will be okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm making a big deal. Maybe even if this is Art of the War going on here, maybe they're just going to make a game so fucking addictive and cool that they're like, oh, that's how we'll get them. We'll just make a cool fucking game. These guys are going to quit their jobs. They're not going to be plumbers anymore, engineers anymore. They're just going to sit on their fucking asses and play this game. It's going to be so awesome. And that's how we'll destroy the country within. And if that's the case, I guess for a minute it'll be fun. Maybe it'll be a good fucking game. I don't know. Maybe this is a different strategy. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Let me know in the comments below. Do you guys have any concern over GGG being purchased by Big Red Dragon Country? You think I'm off on these speculations? I mean, you got to look into this shit. Look into the Federal Reserve. Look into the WTO. Look into the dollar losing its purchasing power. Look into the debt that we have right now, $36 trillion in debt. Look at the history of Big Red Dragon Country. Look into the art of war. Look into all of our crony trade deals that we've established and who actually funded that fucking bullshit. Look into all this woke progressivism shit and consider how it maybe is decaying society. I mean, I'm not going to get into it anymore, but I think I've said enough, and I don't want this video to be too long. But you see what I'm saying? Am I off on this shit? Have I had too much coffee today? I mean, I'm going to play this Path of Exile 2. In fact, I'm about to go buy it right now. I'm going to go give them my $30, and I'm going to be making videos on the game. I've been only saying positive things about this company, and I intend to keep it that way if I'm enjoying the fucking game, whether or not they're owned by Big Red Dragon Country or not. I'm just being a little skeptical here. You see what I'm saying? Just being a little skeptical, a little cautious, because, I mean, I've been wronged before, man. I mean, we've been wronged by Diablo 4. Look at that bullshit. Remember how cool that game looked beforehand? But I mean, I'm almost sure that's not how this is going to go, though. I mean, this PoE 2 is a different entity here. But I had to make a video on this, just speculation. What does the future hold for this shit? So if you guys will like this video, and see you all tomorrow. Peace be with you.